As the fiery sunset bathed Persia's palace in crimson, a woman stood tall, her eyes ablaze with self-respect. Vashti, queen of Ahasuerus' empire, dared to say no to the king's command. But why would a woman of such power defy him? What fueled her courage, even at the risk of losing everything? The untold story of Vashti is not just a clash with absolute authority, but a spiritual journey toward divine justice. Today we explore the strength of a biblical woman who chose wisdom over submission. You're watching our channel, retelling the untold stories of the Bible. Subscribe now and let God guide you on a journey of faith. The palace of Susa shimmered like a magnificent tapestry, its marble walls aglow with the flicker of 1,000 torches, painting an empire of majesty and power. At the cusp of day's end and night's arrival, the scene grew ethereal. Incense smoke lingered, blending with the plaintive strains of zithers, crafting a portrait of an empire at its zenith. Nobles from across the realm gathered, their laughter and clinking goblets forming a boisterous symphony. Yet amid this jubilant tide, one figure stood apart, radiant and distinct: Vashti, queen of the Persian Empire. Vashti glided across a crimson carpet, her eyes sparkling with wisdom and self-respect. Her lustrous hair cascaded over her shoulders, her gold-embroidered gown gleaming with intricate patterns, accentuating her alabaster skin and refined features. But her beauty was more than skin deep. Her resolute gaze and poised demeanor exuded a spirit unyielding. Under the torchlight, she was not merely a symbol of beauty, but a beacon of dignity for countless women, from grand palaces to the empire's remotest villages. Around her, the air shimmered with splendor, yet pulsed with an unspoken unease. King Ahasuerus, fueled by power and wine, had hosted a 180-day feast, a grandiose display of his throne supremacy. Generals, nobles, and foreign envoys reveled in lavish banquets, drowned in heady wine, as if the world revolved solely around revelry and renown. But even in this opulent temple, the king's absolute authority loomed, ready to strip freedom from any who dared defy. In contrast to the outer extravagance, the inner harem was Vashti's domain, a sanctuary for her and her trusted ladies. There she hosted an intimate gathering, listening to the whispered aspirations and sorrows of the palace women. Each shy smile, each grateful glance warmed the queen's heart, for she knew beauty was but a shell. True worth lay in the voice and dignity of every soul. In that moment, she was not just a symbol of power, but a testament to connection and empathy. Suddenly, the urgent patter of a messenger's footsteps shattered the quiet. The room fell silent as the figure approached, swaying slightly. In his hand, a golden edict gleamed, the king's summons. The queen must appear before the court, crowned to display her beauty and glorify the crown. At those words, Vashti's heart tightened. Duty as the king's wife clashed with her personal dignity and voice. Whispers of worry rippled through the harem, warnings of the cost of refusal. Some shook their heads. His Majesty does not tolerate defiance. But Vashti, with a calm gaze and steady voice, replied softly, "I am not a jewel to be displayed." Her lips betrayed no tremor, her stance a solemn defense of her worth. Her words sliced through the air, drawing awed and astonished gazes from all in the room. Vashti's decision sent shockwaves. It was not just a refusal of a king's command, but a declaration of autonomy and a woman's value. From that simple statement, undercurrents surged through the palace. Rumors spread, and women in lavish castles and distant villages alike whispered of the queen who defended her dignity. Her image became a spark, igniting hope for those bound by society's rigid chains. Yet Vashti knew her choice could cost her everything: her crown, her honor, perhaps her life. Still, her faith burned stronger than ever. Deep within, she felt the gentle but firm whisper of the Almighty, a light guiding her through darkness. It was more than personal belief. It was a call to divine justice, reminding her that human worth cannot be measured by glory or thrones. Beyond her refusal, Vashti secretly convened with her ladies, urging them to hold fast to their voices and resist injustice. Each clandestine meeting sowed seeds of a quiet freedom movement within the palace. Her warm, encouraging glances kindled courage in others, empowering even the smallest acts of defiance. Outside the harem, however, the king's advisors plotted retaliation. They feared Vashti's influence could fan rebellion, threatening the empire's order. In subsequent feasts, cold glares and hushed conspiracies grew louder. Step by step, Vashti was targeted. Preparations for a harsh final verdict began in shadows. Yet in rare moments of calm before the storm, Vashti held firm. She gazed through a window at Susa's sky, sinking into a radiant sunset. A breeze carried the scent of wildflowers from the royal gardens, caressing her hair, soothing her steadfast heart. She knew whatever the cost, she had triumphed the moment she said no. It was a victory of freedom, dignity, and unshakable faith. Vashti's story, the queen of self-respect, transcends her refusal. It's a journey of asserting human rights, respect, and the right to be heard. For American audiences, where individual value and justice are cherished, her path rings like a clarion call to stand for what's right, even when the road ahead is daunting. From the crucible of Susa's power, Vashti's flame of courage spread, illuminating souls yearning for freedom and justice. Thunder rumbled through Susa's palace as King Ahasuerus' decree echoed. The resplendent crowd fell silent, eyes converging on the harem where Vashti stood. Her slender yet commanding figure seemed a living statue amid the sea of onlookers. Her regal gown, embroidered with a phoenix, draped gracefully, but no finery could bend her spirit to authority's will. The messenger's voice rasped, "His Majesty commands, the queen must appear before the court, crowned at his side, to display her beauty to all." Each word, "display her beauty," pierced like a poisoned arrow into the heart of the empire's most revered woman. Vashti felt a pang of anguish. This was no invitation but a demand. Her beauty's power was being reduced to a trinket for a power-drunk king's amusement. Amid the revelry's haze of wine and ambition, the command struck her like thunder, heralding a fateful storm. The lavish feast roared on outside, but the harem's ladies grew still, clutching hands for warmth. They gazed at their queen with pleading eyes, silently begging her not to resist, not to court danger. Whispers arose. If she defies, it's treason, and the consequences will be dire. The warning seeped into every breath. Vashti closed her eyes, inhaling deeply, as if hearing an invisible bridge linking her heart to the Almighty. In her mind, a dream flickered. She stood before a crimson dawn, a radiant light whispering God's voice. It spoke no grand words, yet it affirmed her worth, a value no throne or power could strip away. This reverie fueled a hidden flame of faith. Though no scripture records of Vashti's beliefs, in that moment of facing an unjust command, her faith surged fiercely. Like an unyielding torch in the night, it illuminated her only path, refusal. Yet the external pressure didn't relent. Her closest ladies gathered around, eyes brimming with fear. They murmured, "Have you considered the king?" Defying the king could mean deposition, or worse, a traitor's fate. Heavy sighs, tearful glances. One trembling hand reached to stop her. Vashti gently shook her head, her gaze steadfast, conveying an eternal message. Dignity outweighs fleeting safety. Beyond the door, the drunken laughter of nobles echoed, oblivious to the crisis of honor unfolding behind crimson velvet. Clinking goblets and soaring songs mocked fate. In that atmosphere, Vashti's soul churned like a rising tide, each wave a clash of defiance, peril, and doubt. Could she endure the wound to her pride, forsake the throne's benefits, or choose the safe but humiliating path of submission? The silence stretched, suffocating, her heartbeat loud as an ancient cathedral's bell. A second passed like a millennium. Finally, she raised her head, her damp hair glinting fiercely under torchlight. Her lips parted, delivering a brief, resolute declaration. "I refuse." In the dim glow, her words flashed like lightning, cleaving a chasm between her and the throne. The ladies gasped, but their eyes shone with pride. Some wiped tears, sensing the air ignite with her resolve. Vashti hadn't just defended her own dignity. She stood for millions of women across the empire, silently enduring oppression. In that moment, she championed their voices in divine justice. Word of her courage spread like wildfire. From the harem's corners to noble castles, whispers told of the queen who faced power head-on. Vashti became a symbol, no longer a flower for display, but a lighthouse guiding women craving freedom. A quiet movement stirred. Ladies exchanged knowing glances, speaking out together, their small voices touching hearts that still believed in fairness. But her defiance threatened the power structure. Advisors convened in secret, fearing her influence could spark widespread rebellion. They schemed, if she goes unpunished, the throne's invincibility falters. Dark plots bloomed, setting the stage for a cruel reckoning. In her private chamber, Vashti sat in quiet exhaustion, her face etched with the strain of relentless pressure. Her fate hung in the balance. Personal safety versus conscience's call. She sighed, tracing the ring on her finger, a symbol of royal power and love, now a hollow trinket against her quest for justice. Suddenly, she recalled her dawn-lit dream, a final reminder of faith that today's sacrifice would seed tomorrow's hope. Vashti rose, resolve in every step. This initial clash was no finale, but a prelude to a grueling journey. A path of a woman choosing faith, justice, and dignity despite an empire's wrath. For modern audiences, especially in the US, this moment poses a challenge. How far will you go to defend your values, even at the cost of everything? In that struggle, Vashti's flame of courage blazed, illuminating an inspiring spiritual odyssey. Vashti stepped into the grand hall, her mind brimming with the resolve forged in her core. Torchlight danced across her bane, etching her steadfast features. Amid countless, staring eyes, she steadied her breath and spoke, her voice soft yet unyielding. "I am a queen, not a display." The brief, razor-sharp words sliced through the court's calm. Silence fell. The air froze. Laughter and clinking goblets vanished. Vashti had chosen her path, heedless of the dangers lurking. That single refusal echoed through Susa's palace. Her closest ladies stood stunned, their eyes mingling awe with fear. One whispered, trembling, "She's decided. Who else could dare?" When faith and dignity outshone the throne, Vashti knew she stood at a historic moment, a spark for change. Her heart held firm, though she faced deposition, perhaps even death. After her declaration, Vashti retreated to the harem, where purple silk curtains evoked both opulent power and confinement. This time, the space transformed, not a refuge but a hub of a covert movement. Under flickering torchlight, she met secretly with trusted women, ladies in waiting, nurses to princes, even concubines once cowed by authority. The gatherings were hushed, bound by knowing glances and subtle smiles. In a small, incense-filled room, Vashti laid a hand on each woman's shoulder, imparting new energy. Our dignity cannot be reduced to outward beauty. We must speak for ourselves, for others, for divine justice. Her words flowed like a cool stream in a parched desert, stirring the souls of her listeners. They nodded, eyes alight, rediscovering hope. From there, Vashti's message seeped through the harem, emboldening hearts long silenced. In that moment, the room's torch flared brighter, as if the space itself awoke. Some say a faint gleam flickered, a divine affirmation of her actions, blessed by God. For modern audiences, especially in America, Vashti embodies women who speak out for justice, defending their rights and communities against patriarchal dominance. But amid this inspiration, danger simmered. Ahasuerus' advisors, accustomed to absolute order, panicked at the harem's newfound force. They whispered in shadows, "If the queen goes unpunished, all will see the throne as challengeable. The empire's order will crumble." Swept into ideological chaos, they held secret councils, plotting to quash rebellion. Schemes unfolded, exploiting legal loopholes, spreading slander, branding her a traitor, aiming to twist her noble act into a crime. Tension in the palace escalated daily. One evening, as sunset draped the domes, a secret letter reached Vashti's trusted ladies. It warned, the queen must beware. Her life is at stake. Defy further, and consequences will be dire. Sweat beaded on their brows, but they stood firm. Each tore the letter to shreds, scattering fragments on the stone floor. Each piece a testament to unshakable faith. The harem's mood shifted from gloom to defiance. Vashti pressed forward, broadening her influence, inviting all palace women into an unspoken alliance. They vowed to protect each other, share intelligence, and spread the message of autonomy. The purple curtains ceased to divide her from the people, becoming a starting point for nonviolent resistance. Meanwhile, Ahasuerus faced unprecedented instability. His advisors, gripped by fear, demanded harsh punishment to crush Vashti's spirit. Yet the king wavered, hearing of her quiet acts and the faith spreading among the women. He began to question, have I paid too dearly for meaningless rituals? This rare doubt cracked open a faint opportunity for Vashti, a sliver of light in the night. The legal and political battle remained unresolved. Plots encircled her. Ladies were threatened. Spies lurked. Every move Vashti made was watched. Every secret meeting risked exposure. She calculated carefully, timing gatherings, assigning messengers, and clinging to faith that justice would prevail. Though scrutinized, she never faltered, driven by the countless hearts relying on her. In the days that followed, Vashti's confident strides through palace corridors became legend. Even foreign dignitaries at banquets whispered of the queen who defied a king. Ancient word of mouth wielded power. Her story became a lesson in dignity and courage, prompting men and women alike to rethink human worth. Then, one morning, as dawn's first rays pierced the silk curtains, Vashti appeared in the court, no crown, but her eyes radiant. She placed a hand on her chest, bowed respectfully, yet unbowed. Her presence wasn't surrender, but proof of wise resolve. She chose virtue over pomp. This moment closed the action and development phase. Vashti stood not just for herself, but for faith in divine justice and the right to dignity. For American audiences, her story resonates as a reminder. No matter how fierce external pressures or systemic oppression, each person can rise to fight for themselves and inspire hope. Vashti is more than a biblical figure. She's an enduring symbol of courage and spiritual growth. Her actions kindled a flame of change, a spirit anyone, anywhere can emulate. The palace of Susa sank into heavy silence as the main gate swung open, revealing the imposing figure of King Ahasuerus. The flickering candlelight on marble walls turned cold, as if bracing for an imminent eruption of wrath. The gold and pearl-encrusted throne became a witness to a fierce moment. The empire's most powerful man seethed at a woman's defiance. Courtiers cowered, retreating behind the king as he slammed his scepter onto the marble floor. The sound reverberated, shaking the crimson carpet. Faces of ladies, generals, and foreign envoys reflected chaos. Today, Queen Vashti's fate would be judged. Advisors knelt hurriedly, crowding forward, their voices booming. "Your Majesty, the Queen has insulted you and the Empire. We urge her deposition and severe punishment to subdue this defiance." Vashti was led through an intricately carved archway, standing before the throne with a pale face. Gone was her phoenix-embroidered gown. She wore a simple robe, as if accepting a death sentence. Her steps were firm, her gaze locked on the king, though her heart churned with anticipation and dread. Accusations thundered. "Her arrogance challenges your Majesty's supreme authority. If others follow, the empire will descend into chaos." The room held its breath, only Vashti's racing pulse and the crowd's exhales audible. She felt the choice starkly, dignity versus a fragile fate. Would she yield to save her life and crown, or stand firm for inalienable worth? At the storm's peak, a faint sound, the messenger reading the edict, faded against Vashti's inner voice. She looked up, sunlight from a high-arched window casting a quiet halo on her face. The beam wasn't mere light, but a mystical intervention, affirming divine grace. In her mind, a whisper echoed, "Justice and dignity are always protected." In the hushed hall, her voice rose, soft but immovable. "I chose dignity over the throne. If I lose all, I remain free within." The words needed no echo, resonating through every breath in the court, searing into each heart present. Ahasuerus, initially flushed with rage, paused. His voice faltered, as if confronting an undeniable truth. Vashti's act wasn't mere stubbornness, but conscience's cry. Advisors stammered, debating whether to press charges or retreat. Finally, under the king's pensive gaze, one step forward, voice low, "Your Majesty, execution or imprisonment would spark fear. Exile, we believe, is severe enough to deter." The verdict came. Vashti would be stripped of her title, banished from the palace, but spared her life. The harsh penalty sparked mixed reactions across and beyond the court. Some rejoiced at restored order. Others mourned a symbol of freedom subdued. As the gold ring was removed from Vashti's finger, she didn't tremble. She bowed to the throne with regal grace, not begging mercy but bidding farewell to a chapter. Her eyes met the pained yet admiring gazes of her ladies. Then she turned, departing the seat of power. Each step rang like a triumphant drum, a testament to courage despite exile. At dawn, Susa's gates opened, and the world beyond the palace unfurled like a contrasting canvas. A vast blue sky welcomed her, the palace shrinking behind. Vashti breathed deeply, freedom flooding her chest. No longer a prisoner of the throne, she became a storyteller for ages, bearing the power of faith and dignity. Vashti's story of political defeat became a resounding spiritual triumph. Its impact stretched beyond the harem, rippling across the empire. Women once confined by norms shed fear, demanding their rights. Her courageous flame became a lighthouse, affirming that even in loss, dignity endures. For American audiences, where justice and human rights are cherished, Vashti's journey delivers a potent message. Some values outweigh thrones, and sacrificing for righteousness is courage's highest form. Today, you need no crown to be your own queen, just faith in justice and a willingness to forfeit treasures for dignity. At its climax, Vashti didn't reclaim the throne, but captured millions of hearts. Her legacy isn't failure, but redemption. Even in defeat, courage and truth prevail. This is the untold story's peak, a queen of self-respect, leaving audiences with awe, inspiration, and hope for a world where human dignity reigns. As Susa's palace gates closed behind her, Vashti strode onto the dusty road leading from the city, her steps free of the throne's weight but brimming with liberty. A breeze from the grasslands carried the scent of desert and wildflowers, as if welcoming a new journey. Under the radiant sunset, she realized, true power lay not in a gilded throne, but in a voice no one could steal. That was what Vashti carried beyond the city's unyielding walls. News of the queen's exile spread across the empire like unfettered birds. In diplomatic courts, ambassadors debated the unprecedented decision. In roadside inns, merchants whispered praise for her courage. In distant villages, women and children heard Vashti's tale with dreamy eyes, unaware that one could reject injustice without bowing. In the shadows, her story didn't end. It ignited, warming millions of hearts like a hearth fire. On quiet nights, under a star-strewn sky, Susa's harem ladies gazed afar, picturing Vashti wandering hills and valleys. Their sighs weren't of despair, but of hope. If Vashti could say no to supreme power, they too could speak for justice. for their voices, for dreams of a world without prejudice. Each tale, each glance, though small, laid bricks for a silent yet mighty movement. On dusty paths to Shushan, women gathered under moonlight, absorbing the story of the Queen of Self-Respect. They shared advice, teaching each other to hold faith through hardship. Every wall of a small suburban temple bore Vashti's shadow, not as a statue, but as a woman who traded safety for sacred dignity. Under golden lamplight, they sang songs of freedom, voices of unyielding souls. The Almighty's grace remained with Vashti, though her life no longer gleamed in royal halls. In each quiet step on sand, she felt love and loyalty spread. An old village woman claimed she dreamt of an angel giving Vashti a crown of light, replacing the gold one lost. The angel said, "Your dignity lies not on your head, but in your heart." Vashti awoke, eyes red, heart flooded with peace. Proof of redemption, not through worldly power, but through a legacy of faith and sacrifice. At dawn, by a river where poor children from distant lands played, Vashti knelt, brushing hair from her face, gazing at their innocent smiles. In that moment, she understood. True victory wasn't a throne, but the ability to bring hope to others. Her dark hair, loose over her shoulders, caught the morning sun, like the flame of courage still blazing in her soul. Women hearing her tale, though her voice wasn't loud, felt her call, hold fast to dignity, no matter life's threats. Her strength was a torch, unquenched by any storm. Vashti's untold story became an unwritten sermon, passed through small circles in secluded villages, where women whispered secrets of autonomy and mastery over their lives. For American audiences, where second chances and personal justice are revered, Vashti's image rings like a bell. No matter how vast the power or fierce the force, faith and wisdom are the truest weapons. From the steadfast heart of an exiled queen, we learn today's sacrifice paves the way for a brighter tomorrow, and dignity is a gift no one can take. Vashti's message echoes in city streets and rural plains, reminding us that self-worth depends not on titles, fame, or others' approval, but on loyalty to conscience and faith in justice. When faced with choices, dare to say no to wrong, even if the path ahead is thorny. From a distant palace, Vashti's story transcends time and space, reaching those yearning for freedom and fairness. Her journey didn't end in exile, but lives on through generations. In mothers' tales to children, theologian sermons, literature and art. Her spirit sows hope, stirs change, and kindles an unextinguished flame. Let Vashti's untold story inspire you today. Though you wear no golden crown, you can be the queen of your life by upholding self-respect and speaking for what's right. In trials, remember, faith and wisdom guide you through storms. That's Vashti's timeless message, a gentle yet fierce reminder. Human dignity is eternal, and courage can change the world. Thank you, U.S. viewers, for joining Vashti's tale. Subscribe, comment, and share to uncover more untold stories. May God bless you. Next, we'll meet Esther, another biblical woman with an inspiring life. See you then.